Hello, and welcome to the April 2026 monthly update. Beep, 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 beep. Alright, wetness all over this microphone now. Hello, and welcome to the April 2026 monthly update. Very nice. So, here we are. Been quite an active month. Quite a bit. I got some physical items to show off. You saw one of them there. A little bit of a preview, but also lots of things, some plans for next month, which I kind of have to talk to you about to explain something that's going to be happening or that's not going to be happening on the gaming channel. You can probably take a little guess at that. But as for this month, I will start with things I've done. Now, I have done a painting this month, but I haven't gotten around to putting it online yet, so you can't see that. The only other thing I've done this month is it was obviously my birthday. I'm now 22 years old, and I did a video, as I always do, showing off all the things that I got for my birthday. Not to show off, per se, but just more as a kind of, as a sort of record. It's more for myself, really, but it's kind of a little bit of a show off as well, to be honest. See, I like watching other people's collection videos, so I'm like making my own. That's really. I'm aware that no one watches them because why would you watch someone showing off things that they've got? I do it because I've got nothing better to do, but I don't see why you would do it. But yeah, as far as things I've done this month, that's really it. As far as stuff like that, of course, we got the reading, which I will get up here. So we will start with the reading stats for... No, we won't. We'll start with the books that I've read this month, of which there are 4. And here we are. The first book I read this month was, or finished reading this month, was Doctor Who, The Novel of the Film by Gary Russell. It is, of course, the final bit of the classic series, novelised. It wasn't the last to be novelised, but it's the last bit of it. It was pretty good. As you can see, I gave it a 3.5, which is by far my average reading. I give most things 3.5 because I know I mean 3.5 is a good rating. Don't get me wrong. And if it's under 3, that means it's not good. 3 is pretty good. 3.5 is very good, but it just happens that most of the stuff I read is very good, so it's kind of underwhelming to rate it 3.5 because it's not like a special rating. It's my average, but it still means I enjoyed the book quite a lot. So that was the 3.5. I can remember very little specifically about it. I liked it. Nothing else to say. It was good. Then I read Moomin Summer Madness, which I also gave a 3.5, which is the same that I gave Comet in Moomin Land and The Memoirs of Moomin Papa, because it tells a complete story. I didn't really like the one where it was just like a series of short story, like Finn Family Moomin Troll. That was that one where it was kind of just like some short stories put together. I didn't like that as much. I prefer these ones where it tells one complete story, and I did really enjoy this. And this is the book that introduces Little Mai as like a proper character. I mean, she was in the previous one, but she only appeared at the end and only in like the flashback of Moomin Papa's memoirs. This, she's in it fully as a full character. Although, strangely enough, Sniff isn't. There's another character that's introduced for this book who takes on these... I really should have it up while I'm talking about it, shouldn't I? Oh, in like a fuller capacity. There's another character in this book who sort of takes over the role. It doesn't say here who that character is. I can't remember the name. But in the TV show, in the 90s animated Moomin TV show, they replaced this character with Sniff, because Sniff was in the earlier books, but he's not in this one for some reason. There's another character that sort of takes his place, but in the TV series, they replaced that character with Sniff again, so it's kind of like it went back and forth a bit weirdly. But yeah, I liked it. It's very good. It's a good book. 3.5. Again, a boring rating because that's my average, but it's because I know what I like. So I just pick books that I know that I like to read. So that's why I give very few books less than a 3.5 because I know what books I'm going to enjoy. So they all tend to have a 3.5. But yeah, I liked it. I still think I prefer Comet in Moomin Land and the Memoirs of Moomin Papa to this, but not enough for it to be like a 3.25 or anything. It's still 3.5. It's just a slightly lower 3.5 than those two. But of course, this only gives the only option that you have on the story graph is quarter star ratings. If it was more than that, it would be different, but it's still a 3.5, which is a very good book. And I liked it a lot. And the reason I've done more reading, I mean, still only read 4 books, and another one which I'm about 2/3. Well, I can show you this one. As you can see, that's how much fun. So I'm about 2/3 of the way through this next book, which I'll give you a little bit of a hint there. Oh, you can't see that because it's mirrored. Oh well, there you are. It's Doctor and the Zombie, which I'll be talking about next month once I've finished it. But yeah, so I've done more reading this month, but we'll get into that later. Yeah, good book. Next is Doctor Who and the Planet of the Daleks. Now, the Planet of the Daleks, the actual TV story, is one of my favourite Dalek stories ever. Particularly the Dalek voices. Now, of course, that doesn't really come through in the actual book, obviously. You can't hear the voices, which was a good thing for Day of the Daleks, because I could give them the proper voices in my head, but with this you don't really get the same, you know what I mean? So, judging it purely as a story, as a book, I think I probably enjoyed this less than the TV story. Like, there's some where I enjoy it more. Like, the Day of the Daleks, I enjoyed the book more than the TV story, whereas with this, I think I still enjoy the TV story more than the book. It's like a lot of Terrance Stick's later novelizations. It's very basic. It's very just like the script of the story. There's a couple of little changes not significant enough to remember. I remember when I was reading it, there were a couple of things that like, oh, that's different. But I've now forgotten them. I mean, I only finished this 9 days ago, and I've already forgotten what those changes were. So they obviously weren't that significant. But I liked it. I mean, again, 3.5, by far my average rating. Just because it is a good book, but it's just like it's a good story. That's why it's a good book. Like, I'd give the TV story Planet of the Daleks probably like a 4.5 out of 10. That would probably be my rating for the TV story, but the book gets a 3.5 because it's a good book, but it's not that creative in adapting the story, which is, I know, is a problem with a lot of the Target books, even though I've only read a few of them so far. I got a load for my birthday. This was one of those. But yeah, it just it doesn't add all that much, and that's what I really like about the Target books, when they expand on the story and they add stuff, and this just doesn't. It's really a pretty straight adaptation of the script, but it's a good script, and so it's a good book, and so it got 3.5. But it's just, there are better Target books, there are better novelizations, but still a 3.5. So what else can I say, really? But yeah, I like it. Good. Next, and the final book that I finished this month is A Gift from Earth by Larry Niven. This was a reread. I've read this before. I got this several years ago before I started logging my reading on the story graph, which is why I read it again in order to give it a rating, which is a 4. Which means it is my third favourite Larry Niven book after Ringworld, number 1, which was 5 stars out of 5. Then The Flying Sorcerers, which was 4.5 out of 5, and then this is a 4 out of 5. I really, really liked it. I don't know if I enjoyed it. I think I probably enjoyed it more on the reread. I mean, I can't remember. I know I enjoyed it the first time, but I suspect I've probably enjoyed it even more on this reading. It is a really, really good story. I mean, obviously Larry Niven is, at the moment, by far my favourite author. As you can see, activity. You have read this book 2 times. Indeed, I have. Because the website knows that I've read it because I added it as a read book, but it doesn't know like how long it took me to read it, what days I read it on, and what rating I give it because I wasn't on the website yet. So this was my first tracked reading of the book. But yeah, it's a really great book. I really love it. And it's a really, really good story. Really good concept. I mean, that's the thing about Larry Niven. He's a concept writer, but he's also a character writer as well. Which is why I prefer him to like Arthur C. Clarke, because Arthur C. Clarke is obviously a fantastic author. He's written some amazing books, but he's purely story and sort of world building and like technology. His characters are barely characters. The only purpose of characters in Arthur C. Clarke's stories are just to move the plot along, just to have people there witnessing what's happening. Their characters, they're very flat and two-dimensional, and it makes them very hard to relate to. Whereas Larry Niven's characters are a lot more human and a lot more fleshed out, and they all have very individual personalities, and they're just a lot more interesting characters. But he also doesn't lose the focus on the science stuff and the ideas and the concept, and that's why he's, at the moment, I mean, I haven't read a book by every author in the world yet, but so far he's my favourite author because he strikes that perfect balance between really interesting concepts and science fiction ideas, which I love, but also really relatable characters and interesting characters and characters you care about. I mean, the reason Ringworld instantly became my favourite book is because it's the first book I've ever read as an adult. I mean, when you're a kid, you care more about stuff, but when you're an adult, you kind of apathy comes into the picture. And Ringworld was the first book I ever read as an adult where I actually care about the characters. And there's a point in the book where one of the main characters, Nessus, who's a puppeteer, he gets in some sort of peril, like mortal danger. And it's the first time I've ever read a book, like it happens in films and TV shows, where you're like, no, don't die, don't die, don't die. But I'd never had that with a book until Ringworld. And there's this bit in Ringworld where Nessus is like in danger, and I was as I was reading that, I was genuinely worried. And a book never did that to me before. So it's Larry Niven, that is why. And this book is similar. You actually like worry about the characters and you want the characters to succeed. Whereas like reading an Arthur C. Clarke, I wouldn't care about the characters. I just want to know where the story's going, which I'm still enjoying, but I wouldn't care about the characters. But with Larry Niven, I care more about the characters. I think he's a better character writer. I mean, some people don't like his character writing. I've had a lot of criticisms of Larry Niven as writing very flat, two-dimensional characters. I disagree completely. I think he's a fantastic character writer, but he just doesn't overwhelm the story with the characters. Whereas some other writers, it's all on the characters and the plot is kind of irrelevant. It's all character stuff. Whereas this, like Anne McCaffrey, I've only read one book of hers, Restaurant, but I really hated it because there was plot, but it was minor. It was just character stuff, which didn't interest me as much. And the story was also crap as well. I think I gave that a 2 out of 5. But this is a really good book, and I'm really glad that I've reread it and it finally gets a rating. So that's the books that I've read. Now, if we go into these stats, we'll start with these stats. Because there's several ways to look at the stats. We'll start with this one, and then we'll do the monthly wrap-up graphics. Or we might do that after. But anyway, so read 4 books, 802 pages, which is more pages than I've read any other month so far this year. Average time to finish 9 days. Moods, mostly adventurous, leastly challenging. Light-hearted, reflective, funny, dark, challenging. Pace, mostly fast, and then split, slow and medium. Page number, all of them under 300 so far, all of them fiction, all science fiction, or 3 of them science fiction, and then the children's classics fantasy is the Moomin book. Format, 700, see that's the 777 pages. Print, which is wrong. It's not 777 pages, it's 802 pages that I've read. So that's something I don't really... Sometimes that doesn't match the actual number of pages that I've read in the month, which is a bit... I don't quite understand that, but... There we are. Star rating, that... All books are in English. My average rating for this month is 3.63 stars. 3 books I've given a 3.5 rating, and one I've given a 4. And here we are. Now you can see there's been a lot more good weather this month, which is why there's these big spikes. So my birthday, April, obviously, my birthday the 8th of April, 87 pages, because it was 8, which is probably what contributed it to being probably one of my favourite birthdays I've ever had, because it might be the first birthday in my life where I've had decent weather. Certainly the first birthday since I moved to this house that's had decent weather and I actually get to sit out in the garden, because I never liked being in the garden on my own in my old house, mainly because it was in Dewsbury. And there's a lot of stabbings that happen in Dewsbury. It's a very hideous place. And the garden was really big, and you can never keep your eye on all of it at once. So, as a kid, I was always really paranoid in the garden on my own, because it was a big garden in this dangerous, unpleasant place. And who knows what was hiding in the bushes, you know what I mean? So I never liked it. The garden in this house is much smaller. It's not a tiny garden. It's big enough for everyone to sit out in and have a barbecue and everything. It's like the perfect size of garden. You'll have seen it in some videos that I've done, like some of the Mark and Mike stuff you've seen the garden in. It's a very nice garden. I like it. But yeah, that's that. And then these spikes here, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th. Now today, the 30th, has also been a really nice day. But I was doing other things, like me and my mum had to go to a doctor's appointment, and also I've just been listening to more music than reading, so I've actually only read 12 pages today, even though it's been a really nice day outside. That will be different tomorrow, because it's meant to be even night. It's meant to reach 21 degrees. It reached 18 degrees today. It's supposed to reach 21 tomorrow, so I'll be out for longer and hopefully do more reading. But yeah. And so that's that. Now if we go to the overall reading stats so far this year, 128 days, the reading streak, which I'm very happy with, reading a little bit every day. I've kind of cheated on that a little bit. There's been a few days where I haven't read, but I've sort of caught up on it the next day and sort of donated a few pages worth of reading to the previous day to keep the streak going. I am aware that is cheating, but I don't care. It's my life and I'll do what I want. If you don't like it, you can go away. So far this year, I've read 15 books. That is 2,667 pages. Average time to finish 8 days. Mostly adventurous. Not particularly reflective. Mostly medium. Then fast, then slow. All under 300 so far. All fiction. Here we are, as you can see, science fiction dominating as usual. All print. Tove Jansson, most read author, followed by Malcolm Hulke, and then Terrance Dicks and Larry Niven are tied. All books are in English. And then here you can see what we've got. This is my favourite bit. This is my favourite bit of... This graph here is my favourite bit of the Storygraph website, where you get to see the pages and books read over the year, and it's like a little graph here. As you can see, 4 books read, same as February and January. As you can see, more pages read than any other month. In February, I read 686 pages, and this month I read 802 pages, so I have beaten the previous records of reading, which, very nice. Very, very nice. 15 reviews, as you can see, obviously 15 books. Average rating 3.5, and that's, as you can see. If I go to the challenges, you can see, I know I'm not doing this in quite the order I normally do, but whatever. 15 books this year, so my reading goal of 20, I'm now 75% done with my reading goal. Obviously, once I've reached the reading goal, which I would suspect will be maybe by the end of next month, or if not, definitely like halfway through, like June or July. Definitely by July, we'll have done this, and then on that live stream, on that whatever month it is, on that monthly update, we'll update this and this, the pages count, to something more. Because as you can see, I've very nearly done this already. The pages is just behind, but that's obviously because some books are shorter than the average. I mean, I've set this to 200 pages a book, and obviously some of the target books, the Doctor Who target books, are almost all, some of them are over 200, most of them are under 200 pages, which is why there's this discrepancy between the pages and the books, but that's all very well and good. And now finally, reading-wise, April monthly wrap-up graphics. Now, they've changed these, so this is not quite the same as it used to be. It used to have extra stuff, and it used to have, like, book that took you the longest, and the book that took you the shortest, and your highest rated, and your lowest rated. Now it's just this stuff. So it's not quite as good. I preferred it the way it was before, but you know, this is still a fairly young website, and they're still experimenting and adding stuff, so you can't be too annoyed. But as you see, 4 books, 802 pages. My average rating has been 3.63. Average book length this month is 194 pages. Average time to finish, 9 days. My highest rated reads are Gift from Earth, Planet of the Daleks, and Moomin Summer Madness, with 4 and 3.5 and 3.5 respectively. Again, you can see here how many pages I've read on each day, and obviously these spikes are where there's been particularly good weather, and therefore I've been outside doing more reading. The ones where they are lower are the ones where I've been inside, and so I've done less reading because I still like reading, but it's just more fun to read outside, and it feels better in my soul. Fiction, 100%, 100%, 100%. Science fiction, and that's it, unfortunately. These used to be, maybe this might be that. No. Calendar. What does that do? Because this is new, I haven't done this before. It used to just be one long thing. But now they've changed some stuff. Oh, I see. That's good. I like that. Most pages read. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I quite like that. So it shows what books you were reading on what day. So you can see I was reading Doctor Who from there. Moomin Summer Madness there. Doctor Who and the Planet of the Daleks there. And Gift from Earth there. And obviously it crosses over with Doctor Who and the Zarbi, which I'm currently reading. I like that. That's good. I like that. But yeah, as for reading, that is that. So that's everything I've done this month. Now, we get on to plans for next month. Now, the plans for next month are pretty exciting because next month I am going on holiday. And not just going on holiday, I'm going abroad for the first time in this decade. The last time I went abroad was in 2019 when I went to Romania, and that's the best holiday I've ever had, and the best country I've ever been to. this year, for pretty much the first half of March, the first half of May, from the 7th to the 18th, we're going to Montenegro, which I've never been to, my mum's never been to, and my dad's never been to, so none of us have ever been there. So that's going to be very exciting. But of course, that means the uploads on the gaming channel are going to be paused for May. The 1st of May will still have an upload. That will be the part, or whatever part of Fallout is uploaded that day, because that's the Friday. So on Friday the 1st, tomorrow, there will be a Fallout upload, but then that will be it for the gaming channel. There might be some live streams. After I finish this, I'm gonna ask Digby if he's gonna be available on the weekends. And possibly there might be some other streams in the first week of May as well, but there's not going to be any video uploads until June. So video uploads will be resuming in June. I didn't intend to pause it this soon. Obviously, we've only been going for April, because I took the first few months of the year off. Or February and March I took off, I think. And then May resumed. In April, sorry, I can't speak English. In April resumed, but the thing is, I didn't know that we were going to be going on holiday until my birthday, because we had that discussion on my birthday, me and my mum and dad, and we sort of arranged the holiday after that point. So like I said, I didn't intend to pause the uploads again so soon, but it's a necessity. So uploads are going to be paused for May, but they will resume in June. I don't know what specific date of June. I think maybe the 1st, but don't quote me on that, because I don't know. Whatever the first Monday of June is, I can check. I don't know why I'm being so lazy. What is the first Monday of June? Monday the 1st. So the 1st of June, uploads will resume after they cease tomorrow. But like I said, there's still going to be some live streams throughout May. What days and whether they will be with Digby or on my own, I can't tell you. What games we'll be playing, I can't tell you, because I don't know. But there will be, that's a promise, unless anything terrible happens to me while I'm in Montenegro, which would prevent me from doing any live streams, such as death. Let's hope not. We are going there on a plane and coming back on a plane, so don't want to jinx it, but things have been known to happen on aeroplanes. But yeah, assuming I live to return, there are definitely going to be live streams before we go, and hopefully there'll be some when we get back, if we get back, which hopefully I will. So that's plans for next month. Films I've watched a couple of really good films this month. The first one is Magic from 1978. It stars Anthony Hopkins. Yeah, I was thinking maybe Anthony Perkins, but that's the guy from Psycho. Anthony Hopkins in this. It is now the earliest film I've seen him in. It was The Elephant Man, but this is 2 years earlier. He plays a magician, puppeteer type thing. And it's a pretty good film. It's directed by Richard Attenborough, who is David Attenborough's brother. And David Attenborough, of course, is going to be turning 100 in May. I think he's turning 100 on the 9th. It's either on the 8th or 9th of May he's turning 100. So that's going to be nice, because I'm a big fan of David Attenborough. But Richard Attenborough is a bloody good director. He's a bloody good actor, I already knew that. But he's also a very good director, and this film is really good. I don't want to go into too much detail about it, because any kind of details will be a spoilery thing, but it's a kind of puppet type thing, but not like Chucky. Apparently it inspired Chucky, but it's not really anything like Chucky. I mean, I haven't seen Chucky, but I know that Chucky's like a supernatural thing. This may or may not be. I don't want to spoil it. This may or may not be supernatural. I mean, it genuinely may or may not be. I mean, it's kind of left up for interpretation. I think probably not, but it's, like I say, it's kind of... There's some stuff in there where you make you question whether it's supernatural or just in the character's head. It's one of those types of films. But yeah, it's really, really good. I loved it. Great film. And then the second film, which I knew I'd enjoy, but I didn't know whether it would be a good film or not, but I do think it's a really good film, is Cop Killer from 1983. I've chosen... It's an Italian film, and you people by now know, with Italian films, you're lucky if they have 2 titles. This one has 3. Wait, no, it does have 4. It does have 4 titles, which go The Order of Death, or just Order of Death. So 5 titles. Order of Death is what it says in the actual title card in the copy that I've got here. It's also known as The Order of Death, which is what the book that it's based on is called. It's also known as Corrupt and Corrupt Lieutenant. But the best title, or my favourite, is Cop Killer, which is why that's the title I've chosen to list it as here. I watched this film because it is the only acting role of John Lydon, who is one of my favourite musicians. Obviously, he's the leading man of PIL, Public Image Limited, which is one of my favourite bands. And I knew I'd enjoy his performance because I enjoy him. What I didn't expect was for him to be a really bloody good actor. I didn't expect that. Now, for most of the film, he's just kind of playing the kind of thing that he plays in interviews. But there are some scenes in this film where he shows a sort of emotional range that you wouldn't expect of him. And I think it's really a shame that he didn't do more acting, because he's really, really, really good in it. Like I said, it's just a shame he didn't do more acting, because he's really good in this film. It also has Harvey Keitel in it. The music is by Ennio Morricone. It was shot in New York, like a lot of Italian films of the time. It wanted to appear American, but it's very clearly Italian in it, the way it's shot and edited. It was clearly a very low budget. There's some scenes in the film where the actual film stock that they used was clearly very cheap, and like a lot of cheap film stocks, it kind of faded. So there's lots of shots in here where when it's shot in very dark, everything's green. So there's a lot of shots in the film where if it's shot like in a dark room, like if you look at this shot of me here, you see the background there is black. If we'd used the film stock they used, that'd all be green, and the microphone here would be green. So there's some shots in the film like that, and there are a lot of people in the comments saying that it's a crap film, so I was but obviously I've seen a lot of Italian films, and I suppose I've just gotten used to the sort of quality that and the vibe that you tend to get with Italian films, particularly the sort of American-made, or the made-in-America Italian films that you got around this time. I've kind of just got used to the low-budget, sort of bad dubbing, pseudo-crap acting of those films. So I was very pleasantly surprised that it's a really, really good film. The plot, I mean, it was based on a book, so you know it wasn't just pulled out of the director's anus. It is a genuine plot, and it was a successful book, I believe. But I really like this film. I mean, John Lydon is the best thing about it. But Harvey Keitel, as always, is great. I haven't seen him in many things, but he's been good in everything I've seen him in. He's great in this. He's great in Death Watch. I think Death Watch was the first film I ever saw Harvey Keitel in. Because he's one of those famous actors who's in a load of stuff, and it's just, I haven't seen him in anything. I've seen him in this and Death Watch. I think I prefer Death Watch to this, personally. That's got a more interesting plot. But this is a really good film. I mean, I don't know if I'd recommend it to anyone who doesn't like John Lydon. I mean, if you like John Lydon, it's great just to see him in something and see him doing something that he never did before or again, which is acting in a film, playing a character. And I was worried that he'd just have like a really small role, but he's co-lead. It's Harvey Keitel and John Lydon. They're co-leads in this film, and it's like, for him to jump straight from not doing any acting to being the co-lead of a film is really a big thing, and he's really good in it. And there's some stuff in this which amused me, like where he's clearly just wearing his own clothes, like whereas you think a film would supply him with clothes, but he wears a jacket. I think it's the jacket that he wears the majority of the film, sort of green jacket with like blue and yellow stripes, which he wore in a music performance several years earlier, so I know that it's his jacket. And I just love the fact that he's wearing his own clothes in this film. And also, you can see in some shots he's wearing a ring which has the Public Image Limited logo, the PIL logo, and he's just wearing his own ring, like self-advertising in this film, which I just really love. Like, there's this shot, there's a few shots where you see it, and I saw it earlier in the film, I thought, and I paused it and tried to go frame by frame, but it was just too blurry. But I thought then, I think that's probably the pill ring, but I couldn't see it quite clearly. But there's a later shot where he's drinking a cup of tea, and you can see it so clearly, PIL on the ring, and I just love that he was just he was advertising his own band in this film, and I love that. It's like his character in the film is a fan of Pill, which the character he plays in the film is in his own words, which he described in an interview, a loony. And he probably would be a fan of Pill, so I think it is good. And it also has the woman, I can't remember the actor's name, but she plays the sort of not the she's in Beetlejuice. She plays the grandmother in Mars Attacks, and she's in Beetlejuice as the sort of woman who's like trying to help the Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis who've died. She's like their advisor. I can't remember the word. There's a word for it. Social officer. That's not the word. She's their helper to try and explain what to do in the she's the one where it smokes and it comes out of her neck. She's that one, and she's in this. She plays John Lydon's character's grandmother. And it's just a really interesting plot. There's twists and turns which I just did not expect. I didn't expect the acting range that John Lydon has. Like I said, in most of it, he's kind of just playing himself. But there's a few scenes where he's like showing fear, which I didn't think I'd ever see him show fear. I mean, in real life, he got hit in the face with a glass bottle and didn't even flinch. So I didn't expect to see John Lydon capable of even pretending to show fear. But he does it very well in this film, and he's just a really great actor, which I didn't expect. I mean, I knew I was a fan, and I knew I'd enjoy the novelty of seeing him in a film. But the fact that he's also actually a really good actor in the film. But yeah, it's just a great... And that's definitely... Even though Magic is the more professionally produced film, and probably a better film overall, if I could only recommend you watch one, provided you're a fan of John Lydon, like if you're a fan of the Sex Pistols or you're a fan of Public Image Limited, watch Cop Killer. I enjoyed it more for that reason, but Magic is probably the better film. So if you're not a fan of John Lydon, watch Magic. If you are, watch Cop Killer. If you have enough time on your hands, just watch both, because they're both really great films. So that's films I've watched this month, and now the final section. No, it's not the final section because I've got physical objects to show you, but things I've listened to this month. I'm just going to sort of breeze through this a little bit faster because I can remember very little about some of these. I've listened to the first 3 albums by Journey, which are all before Steve Perry joined. Now, a lot of people, I've been looking in the comments of the songs on these albums. A lot of people who like these early albums really hate Steve Perry. They really hate him. I think he's great. I think he's a fantastic singer. I think he's a better singer than Greg Rowley, who's the singer on these albums. I think Steve Perry's better. But Greg Rowley is a really great singer, and these are really great albums. The first one is mostly just prog rock, which is not my thing. I mean, I don't even like King Crimson. I listened to their first 3 albums, and they're meant to be like the best prog rock band in the world, and I thought it was dreadful, to be honest with you. There's a couple of songs on the first album that are quite good. I quite like 21st Century Schizoid Man, but the rest is all just sort of that spacey, sort of semi-ambient stuff, which I just don't really like. But then the other 2 albums here, Look Into the Future and Next, both have more. They still have some of the proggy stuff, but they also have more like rock stuff. I know Look Into the Future has a cover of the Beatles' It's All Too Much on it, which is quite good. If I look at these other songs that they have on this album. On a Saturday Night, that's the one. That's my favourite song on this album. I can tell you immediately. On a Saturday Night. Really, really great song. It's All Too Much, pretty good. She Makes Me Feel Alright. I liked that. Um, so that's Looking to the Future. And then next, I think it, I think next. Well, I think it's weird. I think when I first listened through to them, I think next was my favorite. But when I listened through them again to sort of put them on my phone, because obviously we're going on holiday again, and I like to put albums on my phone so we can listen to them on holiday. I think just skipping through them, I didn't listen to the full albums all the way through again, but I listened to a few songs. On the re-listen, I think I preferred Looking to the Future. But anyway, songs on next that are really, really great. Spaceman, People, and I think Here We Are. But Spaceman and People, particularly People, I think People is my favourite song on next. But that's that. Then, that's for Journey. The best album of those, I think, probably Looking to the Future. So, On a Saturday Night is the best song on any of those albums. So, if you're going to listen to one song by Journey, make it On a Saturday Night. If you want to get a taste of what their earlier stuff sounds like. Then I listened to 3 George Harrison albums. Now, the first one, some people wouldn't consider its own album. It is Apple Jam from 1970, which was the bonus disc for All Things Must Pass. A lot of people refer to All Things Must Pass as a triple album. It's not a triple album. It's a double album with a bonus disc. This is the bonus disc. When I listened to All Things Must Pass for the first time, I didn't bother listening to this because I was aware of the fact that it's not part of All Things Must Pass. It's its own album, like of bonus material, which was put in as a sort of free extra because people were, it was very expensive buying the full package of All Things Must Pass, and so they threw this bonus disc in as like an extra. It might be the first bonus disc in history. Like, you think when you buy an album on CD, you get an extra disc of bonus material. This might be the first bonus disc on like a rock album. And yeah, I liked it. It is, as it says in the title, it is just a jam. There's no vocals on any of the tracks apart from one, which is only 50 seconds long. That track 2, It's Johnny's Birthday. Yoko Ono, who, again, a lot of people hate. I think she's great. I'm a poet, I don't know it. She requested that George make a little recording for John Lennon's 30th birthday, and he made this song, which is all pitch shifted and sort of sing-alongy type surrealism. But all the other 4 songs are all jams. You got George Harrison on them. Obviously, I don't know why I said that. I meant Eric Clapton, but obviously you got George Harrison on them. You got Eric Clapton on some of them. Klaus Vormann, Ringo. I think Billy Preston is on a couple of them, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, really, really good stuff. People should know, I love jams. Extended jams, just riffing on the same idea. That's why the live section of John and Yoko's Sometime in New York City, I prefer the live disc to the studio disc. I love the studio disc, it's a fantastic album, but the live disc I prefer because they had these really long plodding jams, and this is the same stuff. Out of the Blue, 11 minutes. I Remember Jeep, 8. Thanks for the Pepperoni, 5. Plug Me in, 3. The longer tracks are better because you just get to get into them and they just go on, and I really love that. It's one of my favourite. It might be my favourite genre of music, just these rock and roll jams that just riff on one idea. Because like the prog rock stuff, those songs will sometimes be 11 minutes on, but they'll be in sections and they'll sort of move from one thing to another, and I don't really like that. I like these jams where it's the musicians jamming on one idea for a long, an extended period of time. That's why I love Yoko's first album, or like her Plastic Ono Band album. I think is on par with John's, because John's got the songwriting, but Yoko's got the jams. It's Yoko, John on guitar, Klaus Vormann on bass, Ringo on drums, them jamming. It's fantastic. And this is very similar stuff. Obviously, this doesn't have Yoko screaming over the top. There's some synthesizer screaming over the top in some of the later tracks, which is it's almost as good as Yoko. But yeah, it's just great. I really, really enjoyed this album. Then, his next like proper studio album was Living in the Material World from 1973. I was actually a little bit disappointed by this album. It's mostly very sort of slow, sort of low-key stuff. There's some really great songs on it. Sue Me Sue You Blues, Don't Let Me Wait Too Long, which is my favourite. I love Don't Let Me Wait Too Long. And Living in the Material World. Those are the best songs on the album. But the rest is all quite slow and sort of plodding a little bit, I think. And again, I've listened to it once, fully, all the way through. I've re-listened to some songs, but I've listened to it once all the way through. On re-listens, and this always happens, on repeat listenings, I will enjoy it more. And again, these George Harrison, all the albums linked in the description of this live stream, I put on my phone, and I'll be listening to them on holiday. I will learn to love this album. I will. I know I will. Because it's happened loads of, like the early Fleetwood Mac albums, like You Then Play On and Kiln House. I didn't really like the first time I listened to it. I liked a couple of songs, but overall I didn't like the albums. I think they're great now. It just requires repeat listenings. That'll probably happen for those King Crimson albums. When I re-listen to them eventually, I'll probably like them more. This album, at some point in the future, I will love every song on this album. At the moment, I love 3 songs on the album. And the rest is kind of boring to me at the moment. On re-listenings, I will like it more. But great album cover. I'll give him that. Great album cover. But I think that somehow, I think that added to my not liking the album that much, because the album looks really experimental and sort of rock and roll. And the album really isn't a rock album. It's there's an acoustic guitar on most of the tracks. Not a problem if the album cover was him sat there with an acoustic guitar. I would have expected it. But with that sort of quite experimental looking album cover, I expected it to be more sort of funky and rock than it is. It's not really a rock album at all. It's much more folky. But yeah, that's that. And the fact they came out in 1973, where Mind Games, which is my favourite John Lennon album, came out in 1973, and Paul released, what was it? It wasn't, I know everyone's thinking Band on the Run, that's not my favourite Wings album. Red Rose Speedway, which is, I think, possibly my favourite Wings album. Venus and Mars is kind of tied with it, but definitely one of my favourite Wings albums is Red Rose Speedway, which came out in 73. So the fact that 2 of the other Beatles, I haven't heard any of Ringo's solo albums. I've heard like Photograph and It Don't Come Easy as songs, but I haven't heard any full albums by him. The other 2 Beatles released my favourite of their albums in 1973, so I expected this to be really, really great. It's not, so far. Like I say, I learned to love it later, but at the moment it was kind of a disappointment to me. What was not a disappointment was Dark Horse. Now again, Dark Horse, 1974. A lot of people hate this album. I think this was a million times better. I love nearly every song on the album. There's a couple of songs that are a bit so-so, like Bye Bye Love and Ding Dong Ding Dong. Those 2 songs are kind of meh to me, but all the other songs on this album are really great. The best, Harry's on Tour, Express, the opening track and instrumental, would have been better if it had had vocals, but it's still a really, really great rock track. I love it. Simply Shady, brilliant, 10 out of 10. So Sad, 10 out of 10. Dark Horse, the title track, 10 out of 10. His voice is really hoarse, which is why some critics said Dark Horse, spelt that way, is like a diss towards the album. I really like how it sounds. I mean, I know it was really painful for him to record. He had laryngitis when recording that track, and on the subsequent Dark Horse tour, he completely lost his voice on the tour. So I appreciate how much pain he went through, but it sounds great. I think it sounds great. So it's those 3, Simply Shady, So Sad, and Dark Horse are the best songs on the album. I love all of them. I can't really recommend one more than the other. So if you're going to listen to 3 songs, Simply Shady, So Sad, and Dark Horse from the Dark Horse album. And of all the albums I've listened to this month, that is the best. Dark Horse, I love it. Probably contributing to that, because you guys know me, I'm a contrarian, and I don't choose to be, it just comes naturally to me. If people don't like an album, if I go into an album knowing that most people hate it, I will love it. Bob Dylan's Self-Portrait, a lot of people call his worst album. It's one of my favourites. It's not my favourite Bob Dylan album, but it's one of them. I think it's brilliant. Tusk by Fleetwood Mac, a lot of people hate it. I love it. Yoko Ono, a lot of people hate her. I love her. Some of John Lennon's stuff, like Mind Games, which is my favourite of his albums, and Walls and Bridges, like his whole Missing Weekend or Lost Weekend period. A lot of people hate all the stuff he made in that. It's my favourite. I love Mind Games. I love Walls and Bridges. And this, a lot of people hate Dark Horse. I love it. I think it's, so far, I think I still prefer All Things Must Pass. I've heard, but you must remember, I've heard All Things Must Pass a lot of times now. When I first heard All Things Must Pass, I didn't like it all that much. I liked a lot of songs on it, but a lot of it I felt kind of dragged. Now, again, I love pretty much every track on that album. So, Dark Horse, I love it immediately. This might surpass All Things Must Pass at some point. At some point in the future, Dark Horse might be my favourite George Harrison album. At the moment, it's number 2 to All Things Must Pass. But you never know. It might overtake it one day. So, having said that, I'm now going to show you the things I've got. Now, me and my dad went to Liverpool to get my passport sorted, because as we were going on holiday, and I've been on a holiday abroad since 2019, so my passport was out of date. So we had to go back to get my passport, and for some reason, we had to go to Liverpool to get it sorted out. I don't know why we did, but we did. While we were there, I visited the Cavern Club, or we visited the Cavern Club. We visited that statue of the Beatles. All that was all right. There was a good packet of crisps that I had in the cavern, but the music was too loud, so we sat in the bit where there wasn't any music being played. And it was interesting, but it was full of tat. And I love the Beatles for their music, not for the building that they happen to play quite a few shows in, which is now not even the original stage. I mean, the original stage isn't there anymore. They completely demolished that, and there's all this tat. A lot of it not even related to the Beatles. There's a load of Rolling Stones stuff. There's a load of Oasis stuff. I mean, I like the Rolling Stones at least, but there's a load of Oasis stuff, and there's a load of stuff from bands I've never even heard. It was really just like the packet of crisps. I had some like spicy chili crisps. That was the best thing about the Cavern Club. The best thing about the Cavern Club in Liverpool is the packet of crisps that I had there. That was the best thing about it. But yeah, and we visited the statue of the 4 of them. I think I picked John's nose. Oh no, there's a big statue of their faces in the Cavern Club, and I picked the nose. There was a lot of people watching, and I was a bit, I didn't want to be too silly to the actual statue with a big crowd of people there watching it. But the big John Lennon head in the Cavern Club, I stuck my finger up his nose. There's a picture of that somewhere. But yeah, anyway, so we went there, and then we went to a little gift shop, because you can't go to a place like that without getting a gift shop. Got this. This is a yellow submarine. It's called Yola. I think this is my mum. I got this for my mum because my mum's likes little squishy things. She's named this Yola, which is I think a Welsh name. Is what she's told me. Or Yola. It was Yola. That was what it was. It was Yola. Because it's like yellow submarine, Yola. So she's called it Yola. I thought I'd called it Martin, or Marty, but for marine, submarine, Marty, but she went with Yola, which is better. So this is Yola. He's our new friend. Hello. I have a bit of a mug collection. I haven't bought a new mug in ages, but while we were there, it would seem silly not to buy one. I haven't even unpacked this yet, so this can become like a little unboxing thing. But I've got a Beatles mug. There was lots of stuff there. I did notice they didn't have any White Album, any White Album memorabilia there. They had like cushion covers and mugs and bags, like Shop for Life bags or whatever. They had all sorts of stuff, but they didn't have any White Album stuff, which I don't really understand. I must admit, I don't really get it. But anyway, here we are. Possibly the greatest album cover of all time. And I've now got it on a mug. I mean, that was expensive. It cost far more than it should have. And the other thing, now this I don't understand. I got this because I've got a bit of an obsession at the moment, and my mum has as well, with Highland cows. We've just gone a bit mental for them. And for some reason, I don't know why this was in this gift shop in Liverpool, but for some reason there's a Highland cow drinking a can of Iron Bull. It's pretty Scottish, isn't it? It's pretty bloody Scottish, so I don't know why it was in a gift shop in Liverpool, but it was, and I had to get it. So, this is Jamie. Some of you may have met Jamie. He's a big stuffed Highland cow that we've got. Not stuffed as in literally like taxidermy, I mean like a toy. I haven't given this a unique name, it's just Jamie drinking. Jamie is named after the Doctor Who character, by the way, because he's a Highlander. Jamie the Highlander from Doctor Who. Jamie the Highlander. Makes perfect sense. So, there he is. Drinking a can of Iron Bull. Very good. And then, I didn't actually get this, but my mum, as I was coming downstairs to get these things to show you, Mum handed me this. This is something Mum got. Her and my dad and my brother went to Wales, because my brother's going to be going away. He's going on like a road trip to through Europe with one of his friends. And at the same time, me and Mum and Dad are going to Montenegro. But they also wanted to go on a little trip with him. Just the three of them, without me, so that he wouldn't feel like left out. And they went to Wales with the friend who he's going on the road trip with. And they got this little guy who is, I believe, called Fuzzy, if I remember correctly. Yeah, Fuzzy the bear. And he has little whales on his shirt. He has become very good friends, and some of you who've been watching the gaming channel, and particularly the Pokemon live streams, will have become familiar with Kimru. Of course, Kimru is Welsh. Kimru is the name for Wales in Welsh. These two have become very, very good friends recently, and I believe they like each other quite a bit. It's not a gay thing before people start shipping them. It's just platonic, but they're very good. They're very good friends, and there's that. And that, I believe, is everything. So if we do a quick recap, best thing I've got this month is the little... Oh no, and been to the charity shop this month and got some things. I haven't even taken... We literally just went today, because I told you I went to the doctor's, and so we also did this at the same time. I have got Wallace and Gromit DVD. This is just the original 3 short films. I was a bit so on buying it because I thought I can probably get a more recent DVD that's got like all the other extra shorts that have been made more recently. But it was only 75p. I can sell it for more than that. If I get a better one later, I can always make a bit of a profit on this. But it's just nice to have. We have Curse of the Were-Rabbit on DVD. We don't have any of these. We had these on VHS, but we don't have them anymore. And it's good just to have these on DVD, just so we have a copy of them. I checked the disc, and it's quite a good copy. Good quality disc. It's not too scratched or anything. It'll definitely play alright. But yeah, Grand Day Out, Wrong Trousers, Close Shave, which is the debut of that beautiful little sheep. A lot of people don't actually know that Shaun the Sheep started as a Wallace the Gromit character. Wallace the Gromit? Wallace and Gromit is the word that I meant to say. And as always, this shouldn't come as a surprise to any of you. I've got some ties. I've just got 3 today. I'm more specialising now. I'm cutting down on just the number I'm grabbing out of nowhere and making sure that all the ones I get are very special. I got this brown and silver stripy one, very nice, very sort of elegant looking, in my opinion. Don't know what it's made of. Probably polyester, most of them are. 100% polyester, yeah. So it's nothing too fancy, but I quite like that. So that's that one, golden or brown and silver, very nice, very elegant, very chic. Then this one, sort of blue with white and pink stripes in that sort of window pane pattern, but also a kind of grid pattern behind that. If I show you really close up, you can see that kind of sort of maze looking pattern, or the sort of diamond pattern in the background with those lines going in sort of concentric squares. So that's very nice. I like that. Probably polyester as well. Can't be bothered checking. And then another purple tie. This one feels a bit different. This one might actually be made of a nicer material. Feels quite nice, but probably just polyester. 100% polyester, yep. But this very nice sort of purple stripy one with a very nice pattern that I quite like. My mum's favourite colour is purple, so whenever I get a good purple tie, I need to pick it up. So that's all the ties. Got a pair of gloves, which should be in here somewhere. Oh, and 2 more ties as well that I got from the other shop. I forgot to show these. This one, green and blue and orange, sort of flowery. Is it paisley? I think it's sort of pseudo paisley. It's not quite paisley, but it's kind of pseudo paisley, and it's blue and green and orange, or blue and green and kind of goldish even. That's that. I got a more sort of toned down, a more stylish, made in England even, it says. Made in England. We don't get many ties made in England nowadays. Just a brown one with white dots. They're actually the very small diamonds. You can't really see on camera. It just goes out of focus and they look like dots. But brown with very small white diamonds on it. That's a very nice sort of fancy one. And like I said, it might be made of actually like a decent material. If I get this rubber band off and try to find the no, it is, again, it's 100% polyester, but it's nicely done polyester. And then there's some gloves in here. I'm just going to empty this out like this. Can't be bothered. Oh. A couple of other little things. Got this little sea life sort of thing. It's got a little fish floating in it, a little Nemo floating in it. That's very nice. Got a ashtray. Not because, well, my mum does smoke. But the thing is, it's this sort of really fancy looking ashtray. We've got one of these that's almost identical, and I wanted another one just to, just to put it next to it. Sort of a pocket square / headscarf type thing. More for characters, like when I want to play a little old lady, I'll put that around my head, because I did have one that was really nice, but I've misplaced it somewhere, and can't remember where it is. So that's that. Some gloves, some sort of, some gloves here. Put one of these on so you can see it with a human hand in it. I mean, again, it says ladies accessory on it, but I've always been a bit of a David Bowie androgynous kind of guy. That's not remotely true, but it's a glove. Why it has to be a woman's glove? Why men can't wear cool things, I don't know, but it's really cool sort of thing. And I needed some new gloves anyway, and these ones are quite nice and fancy. Some would say gay, but I would disagree with that assessment. And then the last thing I've got is a new blazer. Finally one with an interesting pattern on it. I'll go and put this on and then tilt the camera so you can see me. It's a bit small, but it's good enough. The first new blazer I've got that's actually got like a decent pattern on it. It's still, like I say, it's a bit small it's a bit small around there. Don't know if you can see that. It's a bit small around the back, but as long as I don't try to do any gymnastics wearing it, it'll be all right. But yeah, that is it. Lots of little things I've got. So I don't know if I haven't shown this off. Well, I might have. Got new shelves up there. Put them up last month. I think I've already shown them off somewhere, but I can't remember where exactly. But yeah, that has got to be it, unfortunately, for this live stream. It's been nice though. It's been a long one. Been a good one. Recap. If you can watch one film, depending on whether you're a fan of John Lydon or not. If you're a fan of John Lydon, watch Cop Killer. If you're not, watch Magic. If you can only listen to one album, make it Dark Horse from George Harrison. And if you can only listen to one song, make it On a Saturday Night from Journey on the Look Into the Future album. Having said all that, I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next thing that I do. Goodbye.